Evangelism is a scary word. It might remind you of knocking on doors, of embarrassing conversations, people on street corners with megaphones and TV evangelists out to get your money. But that's not what evangelism means. It comes from a word that means a messenger with good news. It's about telling others about the kingdom of God, which is good news for all. It doesn't have to be loud, rude, or intrusive. That's what the first mark of mission is all about, to proclaim the good news. Of course, we need much more than words, but words are essential. After all, as Paul reminded the Romans, how can people believe in someone they haven't heard about? How can they hear unless someone tells them? Jesus was very clear about what he wanted his disciples to do. As you go, tell people about the kingdom, he said. You say, but that's not for me. I'm not an evangelist. Not everyone is an evangelist, it's true. But if you're a Christian, you are a witness. They kind of go together. You can't have one without the other. Jesus' last command to his friends before he returned to heaven was, "Be my witnesses to the ends of the earth." He asked them to teach others what he'd taught them, so I guess that probably means us too. Now, some people have tried talking to others about Jesus and it's not gone well, and that puts them off, so they just don't do it again. It feels like we're interfering and telling people what to think. That might be how you feel. Well, if it is, or you've been afraid to try, let me reassure you. It's possible to speak about Jesus without being rude or offensive. We don't have to be experts, and we don't have to have all the answers. In fact, it's better when you don't, because that way people hear the real story with all its struggles as well as its joys. Jesus told stories using ideas that were familiar to those around him. Stories about farming and sheep and lost coins and vineyards. He answered people's questions rather than starting where he wanted to. Questions like, where should we worship and who is my neighbour? He started from where people were and spoke in ways that were easy to understand. He loved to listen and have real conversations about real life. My favourite bit in the Bible about being a witness is in Peter's first letter, chapter 3, verses 15 and 16. He tells us to start by setting Jesus apart in our hearts. In other words, it begins with our own relationship with God. Then he says we should be ready to speak to anyone who asks. We don't have to force the conversation round, but let it happen naturally when someone is ready to hear. He said we should speak about our hope. We talk about what Jesus means to us and the difference that he makes to our lives, rather than saying what another person should think or feel or believe. And he says that we should always be gentle and respectful. Well, that's just good manners, isn't it? Not every Christian can be an evangelist, but every Christian can be a witness. In fact, every Christian should be a witness. It comes with the territory. You can't be one without being the other. It's just about telling the story of what Jesus means to us in ways that are helpful for others. It's about being a messenger, carrying the best news anyone could ever hear, to tell people about the kingdom of God, which is good news for all.